Hello, Connective. Welcome back. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Subscribe, comment, and like without smashing anything, and let's get into this energy. This is a collective reading for Aries. Aries, I've already gotten some overlying and underlying energies from the Akashic deck and the Universal Law deck. So as soon as we get the cards to come out for the Energy Oracle, we'll talk about that. But I can already tell you that this is a reading of leveling up. This is a reading of kind of being like a person who has like special gifts and abilities and not necessarily realizing it, and getting to the point where they're either realizing it or working more towards being that person that they already are. So it's almost kind of like either you've had the notion that you're this type of person or that you are this person, and it's been a little scary for you, so you've been a little apprehensive, not really wanting to move towards it. Or it could be that you have no idea at all that you're this person, and that when you do figure it out or find out, that it's going to be a little jarring for you to deal with, because the idea of it is so grand that you actually have to take it in stages, kind of thing, is what it's looking like from the underlying energy. So I'm going to go through it this time. It seems a little stubborn. I'm going to go through it one more time. And if I don't get any cards, I'm going to pull a bunch of cards. Because I need some more cards from the Energy Oracle to kind of help elaborate what's here on the table. Thank you. I need more than that, though. And I think one is flipped over. What is that? Great. So no, I definitely need more cards. Let me see what this is. Okay. All right, one more time and then we'll pull some cards. I'm going to pull three more. Oh. Okay. All right. I didn't expect this, Aries. All right. Maybe, hopefully, as we're going through it, it'll kind of highlight maybe what some of these messages that are coming out are saying. Okay, so trying to figure out if we're going to go through. Yeah, let's do the overlying energy first and then the underlying energy. So for the overlying energy from the Akashic deck, we have Hilarion. Now, this is like an Ascended Master. This is what I'm talking about. This is an Ascended Master. There's a lot that he's the Ascended Master of, but a lot of it is talking about like science, and I think healing was in there. And I think in the extended reading, we'll actually read this one because it'll give you a better idea of all the things that they said about this card. But basically, overlying energy, Ascended Master with spiritual help, right? And then, so the two cards that came out from the Universal Law deck were the Law of Divine Will, which says, stop waiting for a sign. The universe responds to your beliefs. Okay. And then the Law of Emergent Evolution, make a new declaration for your life. So these cards, when they came out, they look like one card, and then it ended up being both of these cards. And I feel like what this is saying to, especially to those people who knew like they might be someone special inside, even if you didn't know what that was, that you've kind of been sitting around trying to figure out, like try to get a sign to figure out which direction to move, or trying to get confirmation that you are actually this person. And if you don't believe that you're that person and that's why you're sitting around waiting for that sign, the Law of Divine Will is telling you that you may not even be acknowledged in that capacity because you don't actually believe, right? If you believed that you could be that person and then you asked for a sign, you might be more readily able to get a sign. Or if you got a sign, you'd be more available to see it, kind of thing. And then the Law of Emergent Evolution is telling me that you need to actually like make that decision. So like if you've been kind of sitting around and waiting and not knowing, it's kind of saying that, you know, if that's a belief problem, to fix that belief problem, or to ask yourself what you want to be, or to declare what it is that you want to be, to decide. Because again, it goes back to the law of divine will, which is the universe responds to your beliefs. So once you make that declaration, then you can get back to those beliefs. And this is together and separate from Hilarion. This is together and separate from who you are and what you're trying to become. Those two messages can be simply about anything you're trying to deal with in your life or in your daily life right now. And then we have the underlying energies. So for the underlying energy, two Akashic cards came out together, and these also looked like one card. And the first one was the Three of Scrolls, which is setting your course. So it's talking about making a move, right? And then we have the Divine Physician. So it's kind of, well, let's do the other two underlying energies and then we'll talk about how they all go together. So again, when these came out for the underlying energy, they look like one card. And we have the Law of Action, which is get out of your comfort zone and take bold action today. So again, like acting on setting your course. And then the Law of Abundance, open your mind to your prosperous nature. So what I really feel like just the overlying and the underlying energy are saying for this reading, Aries, is that you are someone that you didn't realize like how special you were to the point of how actually special you were, or you're just now sort of figuring out, or you're about to find out, you know, exactly what your like true nature is, which is much more grand than anything you could have expected for yourself. And so what this is saying is that if you have any beliefs against the fact that that could be true, to try to clear those beliefs, or at least believe in yourself enough to keep yourself open to the fact that you could be an ascended master and you might have something to offer to others. But on top of that, it's telling you that the universe is responding to your beliefs, and then to actually set what your beliefs are so that your universe can respond to that, so that you can move towards the thing that you want, move forward towards the thing that you want, regardless of whether or not you believe that you're Hilarion, right? And then setting your course, and this Law of Action card is talking about your comfort zone. So I feel like this kind of goes back to sitting around and waiting for a sign, like being in your comfort zone. It's easier to sit back and wait for a sign, or say you're waiting for a sign that you may or may not want to see, when you're kind of more worried about what will happen if you act, kind of thing. And this is telling you to take bold action today, like now, right? And then the Law of Abundance, that it's talking about when you set your course to move forward, even if you don't believe that you could be this ascended master person, that you could set your course moving forward and just think of yourself as the divine physician, right? Something, maybe the divine physician I always take as an ascended master, but I feel like, you know, Hilarion is like bigger, you know. I mean, maybe not necessarily. They're both major arcana cards. That Hilarion is actually number 5 and the Divine Physician is actually number 6. But I really feel like the Divine Physician comes out a lot more than this Hilarion card. And I feel like it's kind of saying that the Hilarion part of you might be more rare than like what other people have, right? The Divine Physician comes out a lot, and it comes out for overlying energy, but Hilarion doesn't even come out, kind of thing. I don't believe I've seen it in these readings. So it's one of those things where it's saying that, you know, the Divine Physician is much more common and probably much more easier for you to believe that you could be on your way to becoming Hilarion, right? And to set your course by taking action of doing that thing, because it's not just about being the Divine Physician or Hilarion, it's about the abundance that's coming to you, right? Then these cards came out. So the ones that came out by themselves, we saw that one last. All right. So when the Thinking Woman came out, now again, I always say that the Thinking Woman could be a man, could be a woman, but usually it either is something that is being contemplating, or something is just straight someone's overthinking. In this situation, it could be either thinking about one's purpose. Again, beliefs might be involved, believing or not believing, but definitely thinking about it. And then to the point where we're talking ourselves out of stuff, or possibly even overthinking things again, waiting for a sign because we're just not sure, because we keep going back and forth in our head, right? And then we have walking away. So I was thinking like walking away was kind of walking away from that extra noise that we're bringing into the situation by causing ourselves to go back, you know, around and around in circles, trying to figure out what we're supposed to be doing, basically, right? And then this came up, envy, right? Didn't see that one. So envy we're going to put up here, which this has been coming out more often than not as some sort of interference, either in a relationship, if it's a relationship reading, or from outside the relationship kind of thing. So if it's not about a relationship, it just could be envy from outside. I mean, sometimes the idea is there that the envy could be yours, but I don't know. I don't see it here. I see more fear of being someone special, which you already are. So that's what we need to get through here. And envy is most likely causing some kind of interference or is in the way, because we have the world, which is always what we're moving towards, right? We're always moving towards like the world, which is, I always say, everything. So these are the cards that I pulled. So I pulled first chakra, Archangel Michael, so our stability. So our stability is being affected a little bit. So this could be part of the reason why we're not believing that we could actually be this ascended master, because there's some kind of interference which is causing us to either doubt ourselves, or just straight, if somebody else doesn't believe in us or believe that something's possible, then it's easier for us to just fall in line with that, because we're kind of maybe predisposed to like not believing that we could be that special kind of thing. And so I feel like that's why this journey card is here. I feel like if you think that you might be an ascended master, and you think that it's possible that you think it's possible, you think that you could be, then this envy isn't going to affect you very much, whether or not it's there. But if you are affected by other people's opinions, and sometimes it could be depending on the person, it could be family's opinions are more effective than, say, a friend's opinions, or a boyfriend or girlfriend's opinion is more effective than family. So depending on what everybody thinks, what you think, and where you are in understanding or believing that you could be an ascended master, you may or may not have to take a journey in that direction to actually understand that, yes, this is totally possible, and yes, you are, kind of thing. Most of the time with ascended masters, they have to be told more than once. And that's why this moon card, the goddess of the moon, is here. This is kind of telling me that some of you may not know. Some of it's telling me that some of you may not have been sure, and that's what the waiting for the sign was, kind of thing. But some of you just straight didn't want to believe. You could have got 100 signs and you still wouldn't have believed necessarily that you were that ascended master person, because you have a hard enough time believing that you're the divine physician. Right? But, I always say that sometimes it's just it's as simple as making a decision. You know what I mean? If you decided, hey, that sounds pretty cool, I want to be an ascended master, and you just chose to walk in that direction, you'd step right into it. I mean, I'm not saying, without resistance or anything like that, but again, depending on how you step into it could determine how much resistance you actually get. I mean, up until now, the most resistance that you've been getting is from this envy card. Envy can't stop you forever. If they're going to sit back and watch and be envious and, cause you to doubt yourself and whatever, eventually you're going to move, and envy isn't going to be able to stop you. Envy, I feel like stops the start. Yeah. I feel like once you get past it, Aries, then they're not going to come back to check you. You know what I mean? Like, they're not that much into the game. Try to block you if you do an end run around them, They might have something else to envy where you're concerned. Can't tell what card that is. Yeah. I feel like there is a stepping away from something. Oh. Okay. It's still not telling me what there is a stepping away from. The envy could be within the relationship, and there's something that you're trying to do, and just being in the relationship could be, affecting your stability. You can't really 100% see what's going on, but you can see that someone that's around you is not working towards what you're working towards. And so for you, moving forward is so much more than just like moving forward like on your spiritual beliefs or towards your spiritual purpose, but it's about like leaving a relationship behind that's not supporting you. It's not even about where you want to go. It's about the fact that you realize that you don't identify with the person that doesn't want to go with you. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. But I don't see much like this. I don't see situations much like where people just go, hey, you know what? You want to come with me? I don't like you anyway. That's kind of what this is. You know, it's kind of like, hey, you know what? I'm not fighting for where I'm trying to go. I'm not even sure where that is. But you can't come wherever I'm going because you don't even vibe with what's going on. So we have such a curious dream, grounding, returning to reality, coming home. So I always say it's like rediscovering ourselves. Rediscovering ourselves in all of this, you know, like I said, regardless of who we are inside, like we could put that on the shelf for later, right? It's this other person that we're dealing with. This is our stability here, right? Coming back to knowing who we are so we can feel secure no matter what's happening. This does still feel like it's inside the relationship, but it could be outside the relationship, or it could just be not a relationship and this is coming from the outside kind of thing. I don't care if it's your best friend. Your best friend's doing this to you by yourself without a relationship. It's still coming from the outside. They're not supporting you. This is what we're talking about. Part of the journey is realizing that. The goddess of the moon is because it's not showing you everything. It's showing you the obvious stuff. Like I said, like even if you're like not ready to fight for where you're going, you realize that that thing that you're trying to walk away from is, you stay long enough, you're going to want to run away from it. You realize that. It's not even that anything that terrible is going on, although I mean it might be, but I mean I don't see it here on the table. It's just that it's kind of like you know where it could go. So you just kind of go, oh, you know what? I'm not really willing to do anything worse, you know, anything more damaging with this person, especially because of maybe where I'm trying to go. Or it doesn't matter what it is. It could be something like wanting to go to college, you know. So you have lead the way, be a leader, show others how it's done. You can help others. See, this is what I was getting from this Hilarion card, where it's like, we're not just becoming better or like stepping into being an ascended master, like for our own, you know, gratitude, but we're supposed to help others. And so part of the process is to realize that you are going to be somebody special, a teacher, and then to step into that. That's what lead the way is telling you. And becoming braver is resilience, experience, growing stronger, fresh perspective. So this, you know, I picked this up a lot of different ways for a lot of different times. There's a little bit of fresh perspective here, but I feel like right now this card is talking about how when you went through this with this envy, or you're going through this with this envy, the relationship itself, the happening itself, the thing that kind of helps you to, you know, be strong or become strong or remember that you're strong. It's kind of like the part of the reward is what you learn from this experience. So as much as we might hate it or regret it, we get to take something back with us after this that no one can take away. The thing that's going to prevent the same thing from happening again as we try to move forward into like better relationships and a better life. And then we have no need to fear. Remember how powerful you are. So again, knowing, believing that you're an ascended master, or at least a healer, right? Going forward to help others with this law of action and the law of abundance on your side, knowing full well that if you sit around, nothing will happen. But if you make decisions and then just move forward with your action, that you can lead others. Maybe not now when you're ready. We can't see everything, but we're going to have the world. We're going to be able to walk away from anything that's holding us back that won't allow us to find our tribe. You know, it's not even just about helping others. Sometimes it's about meeting a bunch of people just like you. And then you have nonsense. It's time to talk sense. So if you've been telling yourself that you're not capable of this, even as I'm still speaking, then it's time to realize that it's your beliefs that the universe is responding to, and that to choose another belief so that you can get through this without so much, you know, uncertainty and discomfort, because that's really what it is. If you're an ascended master, you're going to be an ascended master. You know, I kind of say, like, if you don't believe something, you're not going to be it. It's, you know, I should clarify, you know, you're always going to be it, but if you don't believe it, you can't live up to it. You can't live up to your full potential. You can't go even, there's no chance of going beyond it, right? So that's what I mean. You'll be ineffective. You'll still be it. You'll still be an ascended master that's not really, you know, the master of anything kind of thing. In some cases, I feel like the agreements that some people made in this situation, they're going to get fulfilled, regardless of whether or not someone has fear to be in the light. I know, I get it. But you know who you are if I'm talking to you and you know that you're supposed to be stepping forward in some capacity and you haven't done it yet. And not being ready does count right now. Nobody says that you have to start things right now. But you do need to understand that eventually, you know, there will be a call. And you'll know you're out of time kind of thing. This is telling you if you set your course, you can take longer to like get there because you'll have more time. You can just kind of go at your pace, you know. I'm just going to pull. What do we got? Yeah, I'm going to pull one more. All right. So the first one that I saw was this full moon in Libra, find a balance. So you don't have to fully step into go from regular Joe to ascended master. You can be both for a while. Figure that out as you move forward, what that means. It's not for anybody else to decide what your gifts are. You're the one that's going to have to show everyone else what you can do, what you came with, what you learned in all these experiences, what you knew before you were born. I'm talking about real gifts. And then we have last quarter moon in Sagittarius, practice gratitude. So you're manifesting. You're always manifesting, but you need to pay attention. You're manifesting and you're thinking about whether or not you believe in yourself, and you're moving forward trying to help others as you're trying to get to the world, and you're trying to kind of decipher what's going on and, you know, dealing with the unknown. You know, make sure that you understand that you have to maintain a certain, like, balance to your emotions, because you still have this envy on the side, and this is a lot to go through at one time. You know, when you're serious about what you're trying to do, or you're starting to feel like, hey, you know what, I don't want to take any longer. I want to take, you know, I want to have all the time in the world to do this. Then stepping forward could be stressful enough. So just remember that, do it in a way that's balanced, even if you do it slower kind of thing. And then you have first quarter moon in Libra, keep your heart open. So this is usually about moving forward and being that new person so that you can like get what you want out of it and you know, be what you want, I was going to say, but also do what you want. And you have full moon in Aquarius, be real. Making decisions based on what you want, not what other people want, not what envy wants. Envy is going to steer you in the direction that envy wants you to go. So there might be a Libra, a Sagittarius, or an Aquarius involved with you, Aries. I'm ready to pull the blind spot. I want to see what might be keeping us from seeing who we are, seeing what we're doing, seeing who maybe is affecting our relationship or what we should do next kind of thing. And I am going to read for... I'm going to read for the card Hilarion so you can get a full picture if this is your reading of who Hilarion really is. You don't have to be all those things. It'll kind of give you a vibration of what's out there, and you can kind of pick and choose, you know, what's either on the list of things that I say or things that are close to it kind of thing, and you'll know what I'm talking about if you're coming to the extended. So Aries, if this is your reading, meet us over at the extended. The link will be in the description. And if not, until we meet again.